After months of disruption caused by the award of the Nobel Prize and the accompanying avalanche of publicity, work in the Curie's laboratory had almost returned to normal. In the spring of 1904, Marie was again pregnant, and Pierre was conducting investigations into some of the effects of radioactivity.
I agree with Bouchard. It does begin to look as if this emanation can be lethal.
Oh, Pierre, don't exaggerate.
Oh, the animals died, Mother.
But you can't be sure why they died.
Well, I should have thought we could. Subject a mouse to 15 gram-hours of emanations, and it dies in 9 hours. Subject it to 28, and it dies in 6 hours. Subject it to 50, and it dies in 4 hours.
But that doesn't prove the emanation killed them. It could have been reacting with the oxygen and releasing toxic ozone.
Well, that still doesn't account for the changes in the blood that Bouchard found.
I do hope Bouchard's not going to continue using words like lethal. If any journalist started that kind of scare...
But how can we say nothing when doctors are making their patients inhale the emanation for minutes at a time?
But, Pierre, anything you or I say will be taken out of context and distorted. I think we should leave this line of investigation to others.
Well, I think we ought to warn doctors not to overexpose their
I'm
patients.
sorry, Pierre, I don't feel like talking about it just now.
She's looking tired again, Pierre.
Yes. Somehow I've got to persuade her to spend less time in that laboratory, particularly now that she's pregnant again.
Well, I'm still her doctor. I'll try and convince her that she must take more rest this time.
Perhaps I can suggest she does some work at home. She's been wanting to write a book on her findings.
When her time gets near, for heaven's sake, try and keep her off that wretched bicycle.
Isn't she beautiful?
Yes, she's a very pretty child. Irene, though, Irene has character.
Yes. Oh, I'm beginning to feel very much better.
Yes, the break from work has done you good.
But I must start again soon. It's almost a year since I published a paper on anything.
But you've done enough to last most people a lifetime. What more do you want?
Only to be left in peace and to go on working. But for Pierre, how could they create a professorship for him and then say it was a department without a laboratory?
But they've given way on that.
Oh, yes, eventually. But at this rate, the next academic year will have started before they've even finished building it.
Certainly like to see him move out of that old shed. This winter is doing him no good at all.
This afternoon, I went to the Sorbonne. They said there was no one there who could give me any information about the equipping of your laboratory. So I said I would wait until they found someone who knew what decisions had been taken. And if no decisions had been taken, that was very satisfactory. Because in that case, Professor Curie and I would expect to be involved in the discussions.
Ah. So
they showed me in. Pierre, they hope to finish the building in 3 weeks' time, all ready to move in the fittings and the equipment. Then I asked them how much they were allowing for the costs of installation.
Go on.
34,000 francs.
Oh, it's a lot more than I dared to expect.
Yes. But I didn't tell them that. I said I thought it would be quite adequate.
Good morning.
Oh, Javert, come in.
Can I help?
Oh, yes, please. I seem to be permanently tired these days.
Sit down. I'll do it.
Oh, leave those things over there till Murray gets back.
Right.
So how's young Deschamps working this term?
Ah, he's a bright one, isn't he? Thought the world of you. Yes, he's buckling down nicely. He'll do well.
The family?
Jeanne's pregnant again. I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. She was always saying she couldn't manage when there were only 3. Endless arguments about money. Seems to be all we ever talk about these days.
Yes. I know when I was teaching here, I had to get a part-time job.
Well, I'd do that like a shot if I could get one.
Oh, good morning.
Morning, madam.
They'll collect at 1 o'clock.
Oh, good. What about Sèvres? Where Madame teaches?
Is there a vacancy there?
Yes, Marie. The physics post at Sèvres. Would they consider Paul, do you think?
Oh, well, it's only a few classes a week. But if you're interested, I'm sure they would be.
Well, that would be marvelous. And it's only a 20-minute walk for me.
Don't be too enthusiastic. You haven't got it yet.
That's true. Is this everything?
Yes. Thank you, Paul. Well, I must say a few goodbyes. Would you hand these into Gravier?
Yes, of course.
He's not here today. He's at Potier's funeral.
Professor Potier?
Yes. He died last Tuesday.
Oh, I am sorry.
Pierre,
Yes.
there'll be a vacant seat at the academy
That's right.
in the physics section.
Well, 2 this morning, I think, and 3 this afternoon.
Morning, Pierre.
Morning.
I know all this canvassing for votes is undignified, but there's still considerable prestige attached to membership of the Academy.
I don't care about the prestige.
And it's still the quickest way to being published.
Well, I'm not very concerned about that either. I can always find a member who will present a paper for me.
I don't know how Mary persuaded you into it at all.
Oh, she didn't have to. Perrin, you know that munificent allocation from the Sorbonne for my laboratory? 34,000 francs to cover the cost of installation.
Yes.
Well, apparently that was to cover the cost of building the place.
Surely not.
Oh, yes. With the result that most of the money has been used up, all the equipment still has to be found, and materials. And we all know what's happened to the price of radium now that it's being produced commercially.
Pity you didn't patent it. You'd be wealthy people by now.
Yes, they had chemical factories from all over the world writing to Marie asking how she extracted it. And she told them. For nothing.
Well, I don't regret that, but I do resent this business about the laboratory. And it would appear that in order to avoid such an occurrence in the future, I have to be a member of the Academy. So, well, I didn't get in last time, and I don't suppose I should get in this time.
Have you the list of the names and the addresses?
Yes.
Now, don't miss anybody or they may turn spiteful.
Yes, indeed. Very different in those days. Very different. Can't say they've changed very much. Not for the better, not to my mind. So, about this election, I take it that's what you come about, hmm?
Yes, indeed.
Familiar with your work, of course. You and your wife attracted a lot of attention lately. Some would say too much, eh? Been sensationalized.
Yes, I entirely agree, sir.
A friend of my son went into a burlesque show. Actors and actresses up there on the stage impersonating Madame Curie and yourself. Doesn't do any good at all, that kind of thing. Undignified.
Yes, well, it caused us a good deal of embarrassment.
You should have put a stop to it.
Well, we did our best to discourage it, but it only happened because of the Nobel Prize.
Nobel, yes. Shared with Beckerow, though. Very odd people, the Swedes. Now I suppose you're expecting France to follow their lead.
Well, I was asked to put my name forward.
You're a young man, Professor Curie.
I'm 45, sir.
Young?
Well, yes, comparatively. But perhaps it might not be to the disadvantage of the Academy to have a few...
You think we're a bunch of old fogies?
Well, no, I didn't mean that.
I said you're young. You'll have plenty of time to apply again. Candidate who came here yesterday, Monsieur Gurney, you know him?
Yes, he's a good man.
Researched into luminescence, didn't he?
Yes, I believe he did some very good work.
Oh, he worked with Pasteur in the old days, before your time, but he worked with Pasteur.
Yes, yes, indeed.
He's 71, Professor. He tells me this is the last time he'll apply. He has never had any recognition whatever. You, some people might argue, have had too much. So, I've enjoyed talking to you, but of course I shall vote for Monsieur Gurney.
Yes, I see. Thank you for sparing me your time.
Madame,
Oh, good morning.
may I sit here?
Yes, of course. I thought you usually walked to school.
Well, I started out and then I saw the bus and felt lazy. He got in then?
Yes.
I always knew he would. Is he pleased?
Yes, naturally. I can't see him attending the place very often, though.
Has he made a start in the new laboratory yet?
No. He's busy writing the lecture for Stockholm.
Is he well enough to go?
Oh, I don't think he is. But we've already kept them waiting 18 months. They've promised us a minimum of fuss and publicity. How are you managing with your classes?
Well, I haven't quite got used to all girls yet. What are you reading?
Not very good.
Do you never read anything else? Poetry, history, novels?
I used to in Poland. Nowadays, I rarely find the time.
But you're missing so much, madame. I mean, there are so many good things being written now. Have you read Romain Rolland? Not even Jean Christophe? Oh, but it's marvelous. I'll bring part one into school tomorrow. Oh, no, that's no good. It's only on Wednesdays we're both here.
I really don't have the time or the energy. Tell me, is your wife pleased you took the post?
Moderately.
I thought that was what she wanted.
She would rather I was in industry, factory. Plenty of money, dinner with the manager. No, it's her mother. Well, she'd be all right on her own. I mean, you know, she'd be all right. Her mother can't stand me. And she's there all the time. All the time. Well, it's too nice a day for me to trouble you with my problems. I always like this part of the journey.
So do I.
It's roughly what I said to the Royal Institution in London, but for Stockholm, I felt it needed something more general about the practical applications.
But all this emphasis on the dangers of radium is so unnecessary.
Now, I think it's important. It needs to be said. You can't just ignore the damage it can do.
People must be taught to handle it carefully.
Oh, no, it goes much further than that, Marie. Look what's happening already. Irresponsible exploitation. The interest shown by the army.
Pierre, we can't take responsibility for how other people use it.
No, but it is our responsibility to warn them. This is surely the occasion to do it.
But if our name is associated with any doubts about radium, those doubts will become absolute certainties. I think you should end it on a more positive note.
It might even be thought that radium could become very dangerous in criminal hands And here the question can be raised whether mankind benefits from knowing the secrets of nature, whether it is ready to profit from it, or whether this knowledge will not be harmful for it. The example of the discoveries of Nobel is characteristic, as powerful explosives have enabled men to do wonderful work. They are also a terrible means of destruction in the hands of great criminals who lead the people towards war. I am one of those who believe with Nobel that mankind will derive more good than harm from the new discoveries.
When did we first come here?
Oh, when I was expecting a Red. You had to go home.
Seems a long time ago. Haven't been too many days like this in all those years.
Well, there'll be more from now on.
I hope so.
Of course there will. It's so much easier now working with a proper staff and equipment.
You always said I'd get a laboratory on my own.
You didn't believe me, did you?
I should have known better. Mary, it doesn't need both of us working on radium any longer, do you think?
I suppose not. Why?
I'd like to get back to my own field.
Crystallography?
I've had a few new thoughts about it lately. I really ought to follow them up.
That's a very good idea. There'd be nothing to stop you now. Oh, stop making such a fuss. You've got to wear them.
I'm going to be late.
Then keep still.
What did you want, Mary?
Oh, Papa, can you stop playing with those books and take her to Estelle?
What are you doing there, eh? Playing with the books?
Has Pierre gone?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Who's making lunch today?
I
Oh, good. What are we having?
I don't know yet. Irene, will you please keep still?
I'm going to be late.
You are not going to be late. Oh, Pierre, will you be home for lunch today?
No, I should be lunching with the Association of Science Professors. Should be home around 5 o'clock.
Oh, I may be rather later than that. There's a staff meeting after school at Langevin.
Oh, well, whenever you're...
Wait, we are close to the corner.
Irene, hat on. It's raining.
Goodbye. Come and sit down.
Goodbye. I'll see you on Tuesday. Good session, wasn't it? We covered a lot of useful ground. Are you going back to the laboratory now?
No, I have some papers to collect.
10 minutes. Two.
And the course belly.
Ah, Professor Curie. Oh, what a dreadful day.
Oh, I don't think you two know each other, do you, Maurice de Menefou? This is Dr. Perrin.
Delighted to meet you, Dr. Perrin.
De Menefou worked with us on radium right at the beginning.
Are you still working on radium?
Yes, just extraction. I went to the industrial side. The money is good.
Are you coming for us?
Yes. I'll probably call around tonight.
Oh, yes, do.
I hear that you've been discussing safety precautions for laboratory workers.
That's right.
I wish somebody would extend the idea to chemical factories. The price of radium has gone up so high. We're all working at full stretch. You know, very few precautions, not enough ventilation, and everyone is tired all the time.
And you?
It's not the tiredness so much, but I get these twinges in my arms and legs. It's really acute sometimes, you know. I can hardly walk. Makes me feel about 60.
Hope you think it's all been worthwhile.
Yes, very much
Goodbye.
indeed. Goodbye.
I don't see how she can refuse.
Oh, I shall tell it to her face. The entire science department, madame, is on the verge of mutiny. Well, no. But seriously, it's essential to have double periods for science. It takes 10 minutes to put the equipment to work.
Yes, but don't be too impulsive. That could antagonize her.
Yeah, that's true. Madame, you must come with me. To make sure I don't overstep the mark.
Oh, I don't really think that's necessary.
But that way we'd be a deputation, a two-pronged attack. Righteous indignation from Monsieur Langevin and sweet reason from Madame Curie. Together we'd be invincible.
Well, I'll think about it. Now I must go.
Oh, you can't go yet. It's still pouring, and your next bus doesn't leave for another half an hour.
Oh.
Please, sit down. I'll ask Jeanne's mother to make us some tea. And we'll map out a plan of campaign.
Get that wagon out of the way and let me get my cab.
But you can't just leave him there. He's got to be moved.
Not in my cab, he's not. With all that blood, I'll never get it off.
But he's got to go to the police station.
So send for them to come and fetch him.
You mean bastard.
And listen, you, if it was saving his life, I might stretch a point. But I didn't run over him, and it's none of my business.
Please, here, come on. Any idea who it is? Oh, mate, I've never seen it before in my life. He walked straight out in front of me. Well, why didn't you pull up? You must have seen him. I swear to God, if I dropped dead this minute, he walked straight out from behind that carriage. There was nothing I could do about it. He had his umbrella up, and he couldn't have been looking what he was doing. It like as if he slipped. I swear on my mother's life, he walked straight out from behind that carriage.
I hope you don't mind waiting.
Not at all. What time did she leave here?
But she was here to give the children their lunch. She must be back soon. Will there have to be a post-mortem?
That will be Madame Curie's decision. Though there seems little point.
Why, Dr. Appel, what a pleasant surprise.
Madame Curie?
What is it?
I asked him to come, Maddie.
Because as Professor Curie is a senior colleague and, I may say, a great friend of yours and his... I'm afraid he's had an accident. He's been run over in the street. It was instantaneous. No one was to blame. There was nothing anyone could have done.
Where is he?
At the police station. They weren't sure.
I want him here.
Yes, of course, I'll notify them at once. Please tell me if there is anything else I can do. I believe that perhaps somebody ought to be here with you to look after callers.
There have already been a great many messages of sympathy. The President of the Republic, the President of the Council.
Where are the children?
Oriet's taken.
Would you ask her, please? To keep them there for tonight.
Yes, of course. Of course. Is there anything any of us can do?
Yes. Let Bronya know.
It would all have been over in a moment, you know. There would have been no pain.
No. Pierre. My Pierre. Your face is sweet and serene. It is still you, lost in a dream from which you cannot escape. What a terrible shock your poor head has felt. Your poor head, which I have so often caressed in my 2 hands. I kissed your eyelids, which you used to close so that I could kiss them, offering me your head in a familiar movement. Your lips, which I used to call greedy, are livid and colorless. Your little beard is gray.
She's looking very ill.
Is she eating properly?
Oh, no. No, she isn't. We haven't been bothering very much about food.
Is she sleeping?
She's looking very tired. She fell asleep down here yesterday for a while.
And what about you?
I'm so glad you've come. I don't know what to say to her. She won't talk to anybody. People keep coming to ask, you know, they want to help, but I've got to see them. She won't come down from her bedroom.
And where are the girls?
Madame Perrin looks after them. They stay with her till about 6 o'clock, and Marie has an hour with them then. She tries to talk to them as if...
Yes, I know.
Can I get you something?
No. No, you just rest. I'll make some tea, and I'll take a glass up to her. Will she be awake?
Whenever I've gone up to her, she's been writing letters.
Writing letters?
My dear Pierre, I think of you without end. My head is bursting, and my reason is troubled. I fell asleep just now, quite a deep sleep, and when I woke I felt calmer. But that was only a quarter of an hour ago, and now I want to howl again like a wild beast. The day after the burial, I told Irene everything. She was at the Perrin. She didn't understand at first and let me go away without saying anything. But they say she cried after I left. Pierre, I no longer love the sun or the flowers. The sight of them makes me suffer. I feel better on dark days, like the day of your death. I don't understand how I am to go on living without seeing you.
Manusha?
Pierre is dead.
Yes, I know.
I shall not kill myself. I have not even the desire for suicide. But among all these vehicles, is there not one to make me share the fate of my beloved?
Manisha, what are you doing? It's not cold.
I shall have to burn them. His clothes. It's what he was wearing. We shall have to cut them up. Or they may put the fire out.
Mary, the children will be coming back from the seaside next week. You may feel that you don't care about your own future, but you must plan for theirs. I'm getting too old to help much longer. Now, to start with, you must begin to think about money. Two of your friends called this afternoon asking if you...
It's about the subscription fund. No, I will not accept charity. I am still earning my own living as chief of laboratory. Until they decide whether to appoint another professor.
Well, that's what they called about.
They've already chosen someone.
Yes. Georges Gouy, Paul Appel, Jacques, and President Léa have all told the minister that there's only one physicist in France capable of continuing Pierre's teaching on radioactivity. They insisted that you should carry on where he left off.
They're offering a professorship to a woman.
They're offering a professorship, Marie. 10,000 francs a year. Your first course of lectures to start on November the 5th.
That's not much time. Not to prepare it properly.
True.
And it would mean a lot of hard work.
Yes, Mary.
Well, I'll see.
This is ridiculous. More like a first night at the theatre. Half our own students can't get in.
God knows what they've come for. Certainly not to learn about physics.
Oh, no. All they're waiting for is the customary tribute to the predecessor. What they want to hear is a sort of funeral oration from the gallant widow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madame Curie has expressed the wish that there should be no tributes and no official ceremony to mark her installation as a professor of this university. Her intention is to take up the lectures from the point where Dr. Pierre Curie left off. Professor, Madame Curie.
When one considers the progress that has been made in physics during the last 10 years, the most striking aspect of it is the advance that has taken place in our ideas concerning electricity and the nature of matter. Our concepts of the atom as an indestructible particle and of elements as immutable and indestructible entities, concepts which have remained unchallenged for over 100 years, have had to be abandoned. This represents a revolutionary change in scientific thinking.
Ah, Dr. Curie.
Madame Perrin.
Oh, please don't get up.
Oh, Mary isn't here.
It doesn't matter. I just brought some poems I want Irene to read before her lesson tomorrow.
Poetry, Irene.
Not her strongest subject, I'm afraid, compared with science.
Oh, please sit down for a moment.
Yes, of course.
You really think it's going to work, this cooperative?
I don't see how it can fail. Some of the finest minds in France giving a few hours each week to teach each other's children. The results could be very remarkable.
Yes, good indeed.
I don't count myself among them, of course. But with so many scientists and mathematicians, someone had to redress the balance.
It's a fascinating idea. I'd love to be around to see the result.
I'm sure you will be.
Oh, I may have another 6 months, no more. No, there's no need to fuss about it. I'm not complaining. I've had a good life.
Does Murray know?
No, not yet. Irene will miss me too, I know. She's a remarkable child. She's going to surprise them all in a few years' time.
What is it, Irene?
Oh, May, come and look. This was our problem for homework. You know Archimedes? You put a solid body in water and it displaces its own volume of liquid.
I have heard about that, yes.
Well, we're supposed to think out by tomorrow why it is if you put a goldfish in a tank, he doesn't displace his own volume. Isabelle Perrin thinks it's because he drinks some of the water. And Françoise says it must be to do with the swim bladder contracting. And Jean says it's because they've got something slippery on their scales which alters the surface tension of the water so the ball will hold more.
And what does Irene say?
And I said, how do I even know it's true? And I tried and it isn't true. Look. Oh, May, it's ages since you kissed me. Why did you do that?
I suppose because it's good to have another scientist in the family. Who set you this problem?
Monsieur Langevin. He didn't sound like me at all, but he was so serious. We all believed him.
All except you. Everything away now, Irene. I have a meeting in a few minutes. Come in.
Aha.
Monsieur Langevin, you are wasting our time.
On the contrary, this is the most vital lesson you'll ever learn in your life. Never accept anything just because it's been said by someone more exalted than yourself.
I won't, Monsieur.
Off you go now, Irene.
Well done.
Irene?
Hello, Irene.
Good evening, Marie.
Good evening.
Irene has just solved the mystery of the volumeless goldfish.
Does your son see the catch in it?
Jean? Oh, no. This teaching cooperative is a splendid idea, but it can play havoc with parental morale.
Never mind. It's a joy to teach literature to him.
I feel rather sorry for anyone who takes on our Isabelle. She's become quite obsessive about neatness and accuracy. And starts every other sentence with, Madame Curie says.
Yes, it's true.
Oh, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Come and sit down, Mary.
Mary, you know a vacancy has arisen in the Academy. Please listen. At least 7 members, quite separately and spontaneously, have asked me if you'd be willing to stand. 2 or 3 have approached Paul. We think you should.
They'd never elect a woman.
The Academy Goncourt elected Judith Gautier.
But not the Academy of Sciences. Oh, anyway, I haven't the time.
Nor had Pierre. Yet you urged him into it.
For the good of his laboratory. And for the benefit of his students.
Well then, they're your students now.
Oh, well, I'll think about it.
Good.
Would you like some wine?
Thank you. Not me, thank you. I promised to be home early. Excuse me. Goodbye.
Things don't seem to have improved much between Paul and Jeanne.
No. He seems very unsettled.
Paul, listen.
God, no,
I want the
it's
truth.
4:30. I've got to sleep.
Do you think I can sleep?
You can sleep all day.
Paul, something's got to be settled. I can't go on like this.
No, I can't.
Then tell me the truth. Why can't we move into the college apartment? I'm entitled to.
It's out of the question.
Why is it out of the question? You're always complaining this house costs too much. The last assistant director used it. He had his wife there.
He didn't have 4 children there. He didn't have a baby there that cries all day. Nor a wife that never stops complaining.
Perhaps he didn't have a mistress.
If you're talking about Madame Curie,
Tell me, what do you see in her?
she is a scientist and a respected colleague.
I know what she is, all right, and so does half Paris.
Oh, this is absolute nonsense.
Has she let you kiss her, or what? Is that why you've kept that little room in Paris, that little love nest?
Jeanne, it's for sleeping in. Some nights I have to sleep.
But she goes in there. She's been seen.
You know very well we are preparing Pierre Curie's papers for a book. Or didn't your spies tell you that?
She thinks she's going to take you from me, doesn't she? Well, I'll tell you one thing, if she does, I swear to God you'll never see your children again. And as for her, I'll have her name in every newspaper in France. And they'll all be calling her dirt because that's all she is.
It was a mistake to go back to her. I should have stayed away.
Why did you go back?
I missed the children.
So what will you do now?
I don't know.
You must come to a decision, Paul. Your work is suffering. You've published nothing for a year.
Yes, I have.
1 paper. And that was when she went into hospital.
That's true. I don't know what to do.
I think you'll have to leave her.
And the children?
Oh, nothing could be worse for them than living in the present atmosphere.
Mm.
Did you manage to get any sleep at all last night?
Not for 2 nights. 2 nights on end. She sleeps in the day, and then she starts. I'm sorry, Marie.
There's no need.
And have you seen this one?
Leon Daudet's rag.
Yes. They're turning the thing into a circus.
The only paper that even attempted to assess the real issues was Le Temps.
That was a good article.
Yeah, even they're beginning to lose their nerve. This morning's editorial, querying the wisdom of letting herself be used as a battering ram for the feminist cause.
I don't
don't think that aspect of it even entered her head.
Well, of course it didn't. Why should it?
I never knew she had so many enemies.
Wish I could take her away somewhere when it's all over. Look, she says she's got reporters hanging around the front door. They follow her wherever she goes.
You're writing to one another?
Certainly, why?
Only I shouldn't leave things like that lying around.
Oh, no, I don't.
How do the Jews come into it? Mary's not Jewish.
Oh, she's a scientist. Therefore, she must be a free thinker. Therefore, she can't be a Christian. Therefore, she's a Jew. And Pierre was known to defend Dreyfus. He married a foreigner called Skladowska. Therefore, she must be a Jew. In fact, if you read this lot, you'll find that she's an atheistical, Jewish, Catholic, feminist, Russian, German, Pole. Fiendishly brainy. They're very clever, these Jewish Catholics. And yet so stupid, she had to steal all her ideas from Pierre.
You don't think they could carry the day, do you?
No. Look who she's got on her side. Poincaré, Lippmann, Appel. No, this is just a demented fringe of the right wing.
When does L'Oeuvre publish?
Oh, Gustave Thierry.
Well, the things to stress with Brierly are one, he's a white-haired old man, his last chance to get in. And two, he's a religious, devout, Catholic family man.
Started from nowhere.
Yes, but so did she. And three, the vacancy occurs through the death of his best friend. But above all, he's a man, a Frenchman, and a patriot. And she? She's a woman, a Pole.
And an immigrant?
Yes. No, better than that. Say she got in as a foreign student. Query, are they trying to change the character of the Sorbonne, occupying places needed by our own youth? And two, she's ambitious, greedy. Grabbed 3 major prizes already and still not satisfied.
Feminist. Barging in on male preserves.
Exactly. Where will it all end, and so on?
What about a paragraph on personal character?
Well, what do you suggest?
Oh, conceited, proud, aloof, unfeminine.
And frigid. Amaga had a good line. The Vestal Virgin of Radium.
Vestal? That's not what I hear. Her and Langevin.
The result, gentlemen. As members of the Academy are aware, in the absence of a clear majority for any one candidate, it is customary to take a second vote. The results of the ballot were as follows. The use of magnesium flares in this hall is forbidden. I repeat, the result of the first ballot is Marcel Brillouin, 1 vote. Madame Curie, 28 votes. Professor Edouard Branly, 29 votes. I now call on the Secretary to distribute the papers for the second ballot.
Branly.
Yes. Thank you for the thought.
You'll get in next time, madame.
I don't think so.
Branly?
Easily?
30 votes to 28.
It's only a thing.
Never mind, it was a turning point. We've got them on the run.
Well, it's done wonders for circulation the last few weeks.
Just the kind of story we needed. It had everything.
Yes. Pity it's over in a way.
Over? Oh, I wouldn't say that. Not by a long way.